Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We got some news from Serbia and I don't even know why these guys are bothering to report this kind of news, because that's very obvious that that's the way things will be for a while over there. So I think they should give about 3 generations to change, if they try to change it with the mass media and with the news and entertainment industry and so on, in order to change the Serbs' mind on Kosovo. So let's see what's going on here. We have an article from Bloomberg, September 19th, 2022. This is the title. Serbia won't let Kosovo join United Nations despite strong Western pressure. I think if they do that, the politicians in Serbia committed political suicide, and maybe not only political. There is no chance that Serbia will let Kosovo join the United Nations despite intense pressure from the US and European nations, Serbian President Aleksandar Vucic said. Serbia still regards its former province, which declared independence in 2008, almost a decade after the two sides fought a war on mostly ethnic lines, as its territory. Belgrade rules on veto-wielding UN members China and Russia relies on veto-wielding UN members China and Russia to oppose Kosovo receiving international recognition. Well, it's not really like that, because first, this is not mostly ethnic lines. It was on ethnic lines. It was not mostly. It was on ethnic lines. Then it just did not declare just independence, and that was it. In 2008, Serbia was illegally bombarded by the defensive alliance called NATO, that decided to be the unappointed police organization of the world whenever they feel like. And they talk about the rule of law, international rule of law, and a world order that is based on the rule of law. Yeah, okay. And then here it says that supposedly China and Russia, since they have veto, they are opposing. So because of them, Kosovo doesn't receive international recognition. That's incorrect. There's about 102 states on this planet that recognize Kosovo's independence out of 194. So basically half, or a little bit more than half, which is not a majority, or overwhelming majority, or anything like that. And the other half, almost half, it's not necessary that that's because of Russia and China. They have their own understanding of the world, and their own interests and opinions, and these are their choices. Recognize this or don't recognize it, and some did not. It's not Russia and China. China, it's true, they have power, veto power over there, but to recognize a country, it's not up to China and China and Russia to veto anybody. So another weasel move here from Bloomberg. Speaking on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York on Monday, Vucic said that even if Serbia doesn't fully recognize Kosovo's sovereignty, and I'm quoting, "you'd never be able to pick Pristina out of the UN once it gains a seat." You're never going to be able to kick Pristina out of the UN once it gains a seat. So there's no chance, and I'm quoting, "there's no chance that we let Kosovo into the United Nations," Vucic, who has refused to sever ties with Russia or join Western sanctions intended to punish President Vladimir Putin for his invasion of Ukraine, said in an interview with Serbian Pink TV. Serbia is bracing for economic fallout because of its defiance after years of EU-mediated talks that have failed to break the deadlock over Kosovo, Vucic says. Brussels is demanding both sides normalize ties if they want to join the bloc, but the Serbian leader has refused to budge. Last week he met with Balkan envoys representing the EU, France and Germany as part of the diplomatic effort. he said he turned down a proposal for a deal that would enable Kosovo to join the United Nations. The intensifying pressure for Serbia to change its stance is complicating the country's position regarding energy security, for which it depends largely on Russia gas exporter Gazprom and procuring food and other imports, Vucic said. He has instead looked elsewhere for economic support, arranging a $1 billion bilateral loan with the United Arab Emirates last week and exploring a possible deal with IMF to bolster Serbia's finances. Rejecting proposal from the EU, which is by far Serbia's biggest trading partner, comes at a price, he said. Big and fierce pressures will continue, Vucic said. We have to take care how we're going to live. We have to take care how we're going to live. Wow. Well, what can you do? This is what happens when countries outside of the region, in this case Germany, France, United States, they think that they understand the dynamics of these ethnic groups living together in their bliss, diverse, as I said, ethnic hora, dancing all together. They fail to see that there's historical events, and you can't just change a country's conscience, a nation's conscience, after so many years of sacrificing for certain territories, and all of a sudden you want to see that territory taken from someone who actually you see as a newcomer, or Johnny come lately. All of a sudden you're supposed to give them their territory. That's how the Serbs are looking at it. Don't blame me. It's just like a lot of here Americans are very pro the Indian Americans, that settlers, they call them, the Americans or the Europeans, took their land, and now they form this country on their lands, on the Indians' lands, you know what I mean, Indian Americans' lands. And they're all understand clearly, because they were hit in the head to understand that, or not to understand, to agree, to have this view that these guys came, which is true, after the other ones, who the other ones came as well. They came from Asia. So those guys came first, as let's say the Serbs came first, and then some Europeans, we know exactly who were, is not Europeans in general, a few countries in Europe, you can name them, there's about 5 of them, clearly, out of how many nations over there? So they came over, they beat these guys out, they formed a country called United States of America, if you remember. Okay, and then the other guys now within United States of America, their voices, oh, you took the land of the guys that came first. That's true. That's absolutely true. And believe me, those Indians that these settlers took that land from, they took the land from other Indians, and those Indians took it from other Indians, so those took it from other Indians. So maybe the original Indians that showed up over there, the tribes, were gone. The ones that the Europeans came over and took that land from them was taken from those guys, from others that took it from others, that took it from others. So those are not the owners of this land. These are the owners when these guys came. And then they say, we are the owners now, as they did prior to the Europeans, some Europeans. Now imagine over there, the Serbs came first, and then came the other guys. You say, oh my God, where did the Albanians come from? Well, I don't know where they came from. I don't even bother to look into that. They say, oh, they are proto-Romanians, they are proto... what are they, Greeks? Now they're Greeks, they're... Well, if that was a Albanian territory before the Serbs came and took over, I would say, okay, well, I think, the Serbs, you took it from the Albanians. So that's, gotta admit that one, all right? And the Albanians never took it from anybody. They were the first settlers over there. Then I would say, well, you took it from them. I mean, I understand now, you know. I mean, yeah, you fought for it, and to Kosovo fights, you know, 1390 something and 1420 or something like that, or 30. It's true, you fought for it, sacrificed for it, and so on. But they were first over there, and then now they want that back. I will understand that. But if I say, okay, just a second, the Albanians came, or wherever they came, they formed on the territory of already occupied by the Serbs, I will have a problem with that. But so the Serbs will not agree to this, unless, as I said, they will need generations to make them hate themselves and love everybody else but themselves. And that's the same thing they will do with Albanians. After a few generations, they will make the Albanians hate themselves and love everybody else, because that's the way they keep us as we are, you know, separated and you know, divided, by making us hate one another. And but why? Why? We can discuss things, but when you got people from thousands of miles, not very smart though, these guys who came to settle things in Kosovo, in Serbia, they were not very smart. They had their own agendas, and they did not coincide just a little bit with these guys here, but they had their own agenda. They did what they did because it fit their agenda, not because they cared about the Kosovarians, Albanians, Serbs, Romanians. No, we know that it is. So it is. And now they like that Kosovo be there. If tomorrow they don't like it, Kosovo will disappear, will turn into Basboro. And after a while, if they're not going to like the Basboro, is going to turn into Tsupu Tsupu. And Tsupu Tsupu is going to turn to Lulu Lulu. It's up to them. They have the power. We'll see how they're going to punch in the face of Serbs. But they're afraid, I think, because now they have the Russians a little bit angry. And the Serbs are always strong. Remember what they did with the Germans. They said, no, we're not going to give you anything. We're going to fight you. Remember Yugoslavia, right? All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.